All right, we are back with another pick'em video. It is Monday, May 19th in the WNBA. We only got one game to talk about, so probably going to breeze through this video, talk about 2 or 3 plays, and then get you guys on your way. But definitely liking the plays that we got going on for today. And then, of course, NBA doesn't start conference finals until tomorrow. So let's just get right into it. If that sounds cool, definitely going to leave the video a like, comment something down below, and of course, subscribe if you are new. Let's hop into it. Also, horrible first video. We are going to have to baby step into this season because there's so much movement in this league. But we do have a game under our belt for both these teams, and I went ahead and watched both the games back. So I think we're going to have a pretty good idea what's going on for today and see if we can get some good reads. So let's hop into the board and check out this game. All right, so hopping over to Props Madness like we always do. This is the tool that I used all throughout the NBA season. Obviously, for the playoffs, it gets a little bit different because teams are changing their schemes so much, but it gives you a ton of different information. Now they have this for the WNBA, so super excited to use it. They've got all the stats from last year. They do have the stats from this year as well, which is you can see right there. They got all the props that are up. They got so many advanced filters like usage rate, defensive stats, all these different things. And then as the season goes on, they're going to start adding player type and how they score their points versus how the defenses go up against those points. So like if you're a spot up shooter and a team's really, really good at defending spot up shooting, you'll know that might be a little bit harder for that person to score some points. Similarly, you can see the season shot chart, how other players that are play similarly to them have scored their points. So someone like Skylar Diggins, you can see Courtney Williams dominated her line against this team. So that's what we got going on. As the season progresses, this is going to get better and better and better. So it's absolutely a tool I recommend for trying to bet on WNBA. It's a really fun tool to use and navigate. But yeah, absolutely check out Props Madness. You can use code RICH in the description down below to get 25% off your first month or your first year because you'll be able to use it for NBA next season. And yeah, Props Madness is awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about our first play here. It's going to be Skylar Diggins. And this is crazy because I think she might be the first female basketball player that I remember. I remember her playing for Notre Dame when I was growing up. And she was like the man or the woman. But yeah, she's been good throughout her career, and now she doesn't have her number one scorer from last year. Jewell Loyd has moved on. And if we actually go ahead and take away Jewell Loyd from the games last year and of course the game this year, she's actually gone over this points and assist line 3 of 4 games. Now I was looking at her points line at 16.5. It did get bumped to 17.5, which is why I'm going to go to the points and assists because I think she can dime up and I think she can score against this pretty weak defense overall. So this is what she did without Jewell Loyd last year. Obviously, Loyd's now on the Aces. And we can go ahead and look at those 4 games. It's not going to tell us the whole story, but it'll give us a pretty good idea of what Skylar Diggins is going to look like in these games. And I'm going to look at the usage percentage and the amount of time she's shooting. So 25% here. She also got the free throw line a bunch of times. 20% here. She did go under here and only had 16% usage. They won that game by 20 points. Only played 25 minutes, so a little bit of an outlier there. And then 32.3% in that first game this season. So she's getting huge usage boost in that amount of time. And now I want to go ahead and just see games last year, this year, whatever it might be, usage percent over 20%. So I'm going to be very conservative there, go to 20%. Again, 32% in that first game, over 20%. Then we got to take into account this defense they're going up against, who was the worst defense in the league last year, maybe a little bit better this year, but they just got 99 points scored on them by the Minnesota Lynx in that first game. So still probably a pretty weak defense here overall. So probably the bottom third of the league in defense. So she's over this now 58% of games. Then you also look at the amount of time she's going to shoot the ball. She shot 14 times in that first game, and I think the lowest was like 8 times in the games last year without Jewell Loyd. So go to games she's going to shoot 8 to, let's say, 15 times, and she's now over this in 60% of games. So I think she has the opportunity to crush this line. The last data point I'll point out here is the fact that Courtney Williams just went up against this team, and again, we talked about the defense they got going on. She had 34 points and assists. I think she had 25 points and 9 assists in that game. So yeah, that's just another good data point to have and something really cool that Props Madness points out to us. So Skylar Diggins, which is a beast at Notre Dame. That's kind of my first introduction to her, but she's been very, very consistent throughout her career. And now without Jewell Loyd here, obviously Nneka's going to do her thing, but I think Skylar Diggins is going to be the main person to score, whether it's inside, maybe hit a 3. If she can get 2 threes, that's just icing on the cake. And of course, she's going to get everyone involved here too. So this is a team that is a good rebounding team on the other side of the court here with the Wings. So I don't think it's going to be a lot of putbacks and things like that to get some points, but I do think she can do some damage down low. And again, get her teammates involved. If she can get 6, 7, 8, 9 assists would be great. And I think she's going to do pretty well in the scoring. So it might be a closer line, but 23.5 points and assists for Skylar Diggins is going to be the first play of the video. The next play I want to point out here is going to be Nneka Ogwumike under her 8.5 rebounds line. Now, it is a decent amount of juice, minus 135. I want to point out If this is at 7.5, I think you could get a decent amount of, plus money here, plus 130 value at 7.5, but looking like most likely she's going to land around 8. But I'm liking the potential for the under more than the over for sure. So let's just break it down really quickly. 31% hit rate she got over this last year. She was getting a decent amount of time. Obviously, she's turned into probably the number one scoring option on this team. Maybe her and Skylar Diggins going to be splitting that situation. But we saw games without Jewel Lloyd last year. Didn't help her, rebounding availability here. So she's not a huge forward, but she does slide into that role. Kind of very similar to a Nafisa Collier build. And Nafisa Collier, better rebounder overall, 9.5 rebounds line, was only able to get 4 rebounds in the game against this team last time, and she only got, I think, maybe 1 offensive rebound, if any. And I went ahead and looked at the games that she's going over these lines. In a lot of these games, she's getting 3, 4, 5 even plus offensive rebounds. And I think the Wings being a pretty good team in terms of not allowing rebounds, not allowing a whole bunch of offensive rebounds, I think that bodes well for us. And the fact that they're playing a little bit more small ball, you might think that's going to be better for a person like Nneka to come in here and grab some boards. But at the same time, she is an aging star in this league. We haven't seen a regression in her just yet, but the pace might not help this play at all. So head-to-head, I haven't showed this just yet. She played them 4 times last year. She played 30 minutes, 25, 25, and 31, but she never got more than 6 rebounds there, so that's, a pretty good opportunity here. They played with a lot of pace last year, playing a little bit more small ball this year. They're going to play with a decent amount of pace this year, I would expect, so I don't see the opportunity here for her to get 9 rebounds. I really like the fact that Nafisa Collier only got 4 rebounds. If they can keep her off the offensive glass, I think this 8.5 is looking really, really good. You can see it's minus 154 now on FanDuel, but a lot of different places have this at minus 135. And again, PrizePicks at 8.0, or if you want to get that plus money at 7.5, you could, mess around with that a little bit as well. But I don't think Nneka's going to be in a pretty good spot or a good spot at all to, grab a whole bunch of rebounds here. But we'll see what happens. Going to the other side of the court here, I looked at all the role players. I was looking at Paige. Do I think she's going to have a good game, a bad game? Tough shooting night that first game. Dejanay Carrington, is she going to be a vet that comes in here and can be a consistent scorer for them? Is Maddie Cedrus going to get a decent amount of time on the court? I just went right back to Arike Ogunbowale. Going to go right to her points, 19.5. If you watch the first video, yes, we went to that in the first game against the Lynx. Very good defense overall. We got another very good defense overall here. And I've realized that running back your losses is usually a pretty good, recipe for success. And we had a pretty good read here. They ended up losing that 15 points. She only plays 4 minutes in that fourth quarter, but she was tracking. She had 12 points in that first half, which was good to see. And the volume wasn't there, but again, she does lose a few minutes here, only plays 28. And you might say, hey, she's got a lot more talent around her. She's not going to be as dominant as she was last year. But I think, again, like I mentioned in the video last time, I think she's going to have a little bit more space to work around. And, good defenses overall. It's not going to just lock in specifically on Arike. They might, but it doesn't seem to help that much. I think they're going to say, hey, Arike, you can do your thing, which is what they happened to see last year. And guess what? They won all the games last year with Arike going for 24, 24, 21. They were getting crushed in these games, and then she only had 15 points in this game. But I think they're going to let Arike Ogunbowale do her thing. She's going to get a decent amount of volume. If they can limit a Buchers, if they can limit a Carrington, they're going to go ahead and do so. And Arike's volume, I think, is going to go up here. And the next thing I want to point out is the fact that she did a lot of her damage in the restricted area in the first game of the season, but we know she's a three-point shooter at heart. 2024, she shot 47% of her shots come from the three-point line. This is a good defense overall in terms of defending the three-point line. In terms of defending the paint, they're a very good defense overall. I understand that. But at the same time, when you look at these defensive rankings going up against the top 3 defenses, she's still over this line in 60% of those games. And if you want to look at how she scores specifically, sure, this year she went 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Again, maybe she knocks down a 3. She gets a little bit closer to our line that we were looking for. So if she can step back and knock down some threes, defenses that, defend this restricted area good, top 3 defenses overall, she was still over in 80% of games last year in very good restricted area defenses. If you want to look at above the break 3 defense, we can go ahead and do that as well. Guess what? 80% of games she's going over that as well. And you can see 3 games right here against the Seattle Storm. So I like Arike. I think a lot of people are going to try to fade her because they're like, oh, here comes her volume is going to go down. She's going to be less efficient. She's got a lot more talent around her. But I think this is specifically a game where they're going to let Arike, do her thing while trying to limit the other players in this matchup. So I'm going to Arike Ogunbowale, running back my loss, 19.5 points. And I think she can go out there and do it for us in this one. All right, so quick recap of what we talked about in this one. Talked about 3 different plays. Again, only 1 game today, but really liking the reads here. Arike Ogunbowale over 19.5 points. Skylar Diggins over 23.5 points and assists, and then fading Nneka under 8.5 rebounds here. So that's what we got going on for this game. Hopefully you guys, enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're enjoying the WNBA content because I think Props Madness is going to give us a really, really good edge on a lot of this different stuff. And then lastly, I want to finish this video by talking about potentially me doing some live stream using OddsJam's positive EV tool and like fantasy optimizers like, the one they have and even DG Fantasy. We can go out there and, hang out for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You guys can request, certain slips of different platforms, or we can just look at the positive EV tool and kind of show you guys how I run through it and look for some plays, and that will give you guys some routine of how you could do it if you want to check out OddsJam, which, by the way, link in the description down below. I think you get 25% off your first month or whatever it might be, but OddsJam is freaking awesome. I don't, plug in enough, but during this point in the year, I absolutely rely on it heavily. So if that sounds cool, these live streams where we might be going over making Dabble slips, making PrizePicks slips, making, ProfitX or FanDuel or DraftKings plays on the fly, or just kind of going through the motions. Let me know if that sounds interesting to you guys. But just to give you guys an example of how positive EV even works, you're really just getting a mathematical advantage over these books. So the way that the stocks work is the fact that it's such an efficient market that you're going to be able to buy a stock at the same price wherever you buy it, whether you're buying from Fidelity or whether you're buying from Robinhood or something like that. You're always going to find it at the same price because of how efficient that market is. Sports betting is less efficient. They actually pride themselves on setting their own lines. So that's where you can find inefficiencies in the markets where something like this comes up. So Jordan Beck, plus 112 on the under hits, runs, and RBIs today on ProfitX. If you look at all these other different books, they're the only one giving you plus money, except for Novig, plus 101. But every other different play, these are both exchanges, which is we're getting, that's getting into a little bit more advanced stuff. But every other book essentially is giving us minus value, where ProfitX is giving us a plus 112 value on this play, which is awesome. So going into seeing, very quickly, DraftKings, if I played this on DraftKings, I'm getting less money back. If I play this on BetMGM, ESPN Bet, Fliff, I'm getting less money back. So essentially, I'm buying this stock for a discounted price where it's valuable to me. And if you go out there and look at the no VIG, take the VIG out of the odds, you can actually see that this price without the VIG, without the sportsbook advantage that they get, should be plus 104. So we're actually beating that. We're getting plus 112 odds. So that's essentially what it's saying is we're getting a mathematical advantage, a long-term advantage. That's how, this tiny little edge, it might not sound like a lot. This tiny little edge is how these sports books make millions and billions of dollars of money each year in revenue, whatever it might be, because of that tiny little edge. And if we can get that tiny little edge, that's going to be advantageous for us. So I can go in here. OddsJam has a really cool one-click bet thing, and I can just go in here, see that there's enough liquidity to bet on this play under Jordan Beck for 1.5. You don't even have to know about the play. Like, I happen to know that he's going against Christopher Sanchez, who's a pretty good pitcher overall, so I don't mind going to this under. He's been pretty good this year, but I know he doesn't, typically perform extremely well in this stance. So I'm going to go out there, place a $10 bet. I'm going to go confirm it right on the channel here. You can see it was fully matched, and that's going to be it. So now I can go back to the positive EV screen, and knowing that I just made a very good, smart, long-term, profitable bet on Jordan Beck without even doing much research at all. And it's not as simple as just running down this line and taking the top plays every single time. Sometimes it is that simple, but there's a lot of different intricacies in it. But again, I'd like to show you guys how I do that. But it's nice to know that I have a nice, really good bet overall, and I didn't have to do that much work. And you can go out and see back on the sportsbook screen, you can see plus 112 odds for the ProfitX play. That's where we got it, as opposed to the average sportsbook has this at minus 110. This is available on DFS platforms. That'd be a horrible play to play there because I just got plus 112 return. It's much, much better, and all these different platforms are giving us worse odds. So we just got a nice positive EV bet. That's how we do it over on positive EV. Let me know if that sounds interesting for you guys to, do a live stream or something like that and hang out for a while and learn about this stuff. It could be something that I do every day or, a few days a week or whatever like that, and then potentially doing an exclusive one for the Discord as well. So let me know if that sounds cool. Again, good luck with all your WNBA bets. This is a WNBA video. I forgot about that at this point. I just went on a huge tangent. But yeah, good luck with all your WNBA bets for today. We talked about 3 plays again. And definitely check out OddsJam, check out Props Madness. I'll have links in the description down below so you guys can get free trials and Discords on both of those things. But yeah, that's going to do it. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.